Hello guys, this is Wayne, Midnight Think Tank. Let's see, today is Thursday, August 24, 2017. This video is going to be long, but it has got so many details in it. The other 1871, I'm going to take it off because this one here is what I am replacing the one that's up there now. This 1871 is massive. It is the root of all this evil. What you're going to find is our Congress is completely lying to us, and I will show you the proof. So download this. Make sure you get this thing copied, downloaded, because this is going to show you a lot of information. You're going to see a lot of information out there already, which you already have, but this is going to show it to you in detail as far as 1871 goes. Take my word for nothing. Prove me wrong, and I guarantee you will not. So let's get started. Remember the 5-second rule. Alright, if you look up here, you see the 43, 1 through 43. This is a preface. This is a long preface. Okay, pages 1 through 43. Okay, what you're going to see is these double lines with the words beginning in it, and that is where the beginning of normal things are. But this preface is, I'm going to show you, and it has the 1871 in it. So at the beginning, this is what you see in all the YouTubes. Alright. Make sure you watch and read this preface first. I'm going to replace the other prefaces to this same one, and that will get slowly turned. So, if you know this preface already, bypass the preface above and go to the beginning, except in this one, this video here, what you're watching. But it's going to be the same in all videos. Alright, those of you that realize that the people are saying that Constitution is the name of the, the name of the United States is the United States of America, United States for America, the United number of things. I'm going to show you proof what the name is, if you don't already know. The United States of America. Look down here in the two pictures. The left you have the Department of State, United States of America. To the right, you recognize its old paper. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, a declaration by the representatives of the United States of America. And next we have none other. You have the Declaration. Guys, they're lying to you. There's all kinds of people telling you all kinds of different things. These are old papers that are now showing. That you can see for yourself. I don't have to explain it. It says it all. United States of America. I'm sure you recognize this paper. Okay. This is the largest organized crime in history. This is what this is going to turn out to be. This is what it is, period. I don't care what you're thinking, and those of you that are politically correct, I would suggest you come out of her, because you're going to have a problem down the road very soon. Alright, get back, scroll back up. I would put me on pause right now and get a sheet of paper and a pen to take the timing notes as you go through this. There is two key things. The United States Corporation, 1871. Then there's the United States CARCA, which has technically absorbed the United States Corporation. You'll see this down the road. This is a whole general from then to now, and this is only things that need to be known. Everything, you can go do all the other YouTubes and connect all this stuff together. You're going to find it connects. The majority of the conversions to conversations is to show the truth in what our public officials are doing. This preface is very important in your knowledge of the largest corporate organized crime of RICO in our history that has been pulled on we the people, the United States of America's backs against the Constitution here in the United States of America. But it's not just the United States of America. This is worldwide. And you will see why other countries hate us, Americans, not because we the people, because of the public officials and the banking cartel that has been running things. What they hate about us is we do not stand up and fight for ourselves. We don't take our public officials down. And this is what they see. They see us weak because of that. But I will remind the Muslims, you also have had Saddam Hussein and all these other peoples that have clouded your judgment and killed off a lot of your people, and how many of you stood up? See, this is a public issue. This is not about the corporations. This corporation has been messing around with all of us. This preface is the same info in all of Midnight Think Tank YouTubes. This one right here that you're looking at is the first time up, and I will be replacing it with another one. There's a more basic one, but this is one's going to be there. So when you see it, you can bypass it on the others, but right now they're not up yet. This is the root of all the evil that's been going on. These are federal treasonous crimes of RICO, from which the Vatican popes are the head kingpin too. And you popes, do you think that you're so smart? You think first of all we figured out your game, and you starved us for a long time on lack of knowledge and all of this stuff to manipulate so we couldn't find out what you're doing. But it's too bad. We already found out what you're doing. And what you also realize through your foul spirit, God's spirit is in all of us fighting you. And you know what God sets his mind to do, he will win. You will not. You will find it appears itself over and over, every situation, the tags on your car, every corporation, everything that they have set up. And there's a chart down below with all the businesses and that kind of stuff that are committing to this. And all of you people that are owning these corporations and taking people's paychecks and their pay out of their checks because the government says so, and you knew it was wrong, you're also going to be held accountable too. You're aiding and abetting in RICO. The jail systems, all this runs by contract. Everything runs by contract. And, you know, God said, be aware of wolves in sheep's clothing. Isn't the Vatican popes wearing sheep's clothing? The legal jail system, DMV, the schools, medical, financial, banking's Rothschilds, but it still all runs, etc., etc., etc. It all still runs through these corporations. Now, the Pope shut down the corporations. He's turned them all off. He's destroyed them. So if he's turned them off, that means he created it. The Pope is the trunk of the tree because they are all corporations as shown on page 38. But each tree leaf is a corporation playing the same game to make that money. Every system we have used has been and still is Vatican Pope totally corrupted. And our lack of holding our public officials accountable is the reason it grew to be such massive sizes. Read the definitions of RICO below. All definitions down there you're going to find came from Black's Law. Black's Law is the law dictionary of yesterday. It is the preferred dictionary. It knows it is not corrupt, except when you start getting into version 6, that's when we stay away from it. And technically there's some pieces in version 5 we're not sure about yet, but you have to use discernment. Ask God to give you the discernment. If you find something higher than version 6, walk away. Do not use it. Don't trust anything. Find yourself some Black's Law. You can find it anywhere. Just Google it. You can download PDFs in pieces. Just get it downloaded. When you take a sentence and change one or a few words to change its directions of meaning, that is exactly what they did in every system. We thought we trusted. They had to keep us busy in everything to keep us focused on something else besides our public servants. 1871 was done exactly this way. When you read 1871 broke down below, you will see what I'm talking about. Congress was supposed to protect the American people, but they took corporate profits instead of the Constitution, while thinking that the USA, while tanking the USA for the New World Order by programming our minds so they can get to the people, we the people dumbed down through intimidation, bad foods, programming our minds so they can get we the people dumbed down through, I just read that. GMOs, foods, blah, blah, blah. Using our drive-through eating habits like McDonald's. McDonald's is a very bad restaurant. Out of all the YouTubes that's been put out with all the garbage, they're still serving garbage in their nuggets. If you're going to McDonald's, that's your choice. It's your body. They're still putting crap in their foods. Our food's taking advantage of we, the American people, in this end times period is happening right now. We, the people, demand cleaning of houses and arrest of all for RICO, starting with Congress. And don't take my word for nothing, but prove me wrong. And I'm going to show you where this all comes down. I'm going to go ahead, and that was, let's see, that's page 4, I think. That's 5. Let's just scroll down to 1871. I'm going to jump ahead because this is going to be a long video, and I'm going to let you go through the 5-second rule on most of it, but you're going to see how everything connects with this. All right, now here's the original 1871 right here. Give me a second, get it lined up. This is the original Act of 1871. Now, Legislative Act of February 21, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419. Congress chartered a federal company entitled the United States, aka U.S. Inc., a commercial agency originally designed as Washington, D.C. Through the Act of 1871 was repealed its legislative intent, merely chopped up and subsequently passed by a process. An act providing a permanent form for the District of Columbia. Chapter 180, section blah, blah, blah. You can read that for yourself. Put me on 5 seconds. I'm not going to read it all. This process of legislation created a private corporation owned by actual governments of the District of Columbia. Oh, so we're owned by a piece of paper with words on it by District of Columbia? Guys, a corporation, a sole proprietor, everything, all of those entities you create a business with is a piece of paper with words on it that came out of a human mind. Thus, the only government created was that of any private corporation, which determines its own administrative rules and structures. Administrative rules and structures. That's the administrative court. If you Google administrative court operating illegally in this country, first of all, administrative rules, rule is not law. Structures is a structure, and it can be that word can be tied anywhere. That is the U.S. corporation doing business as. DBA equals doing business as. United States is not merely the adopted doing business name of an incorporated municipality, District of Columbia. It is also the name of a private corporation, District of Columbia Municipal Operation, that was created by acting Congress via the Act of 1877, and as amended ever since. This is confirmed by Title 28, 3002, 15A, B, and C, which that's statutes, by the way. You can look that up. Which statutes unequivocally that the United States is also the name of a corporation, as just demonstrated for the public records. This is your notice of these facts. Okay. Now, my notes now below is where you're going to see it started. I'm going to break down this thing sentence line by line. This little piece right here basically is they have to show you diversions. They want you to read the authority may explicitly defined in Congress or be limited to delegated legislation properly exercised through the rule-making power. First of all, rule-making power? Rule-making is not law. Congress can't make rules. This is what the Vatican has done. Okay? They know they can't create law, but they're trying to turn it into the one world government. That's what you're doing. See, this is why I left this piece in here. This is still the 1871. I'm showing you this. I wanted to leave that in there so you can see that little piece. Now this breakdown. From here, all right. There's the first line. Everything that you see in red that goes all the way to the edge like this here, okay, is the original of what you've seen up there. You can go back and copy it yourself, but it's all there. All I did is copied and had two there, and when I put my cursor in at the end, like right here, and I hit return, it shifted everything down. So now I am breaking down this sentence that you're staring at right here. Now let's look at the first thing. There cannot be any additional meaning given to the United States without going through we the people at all. Our congressman's job is through votes within the confines of the Constitution. We the people did not give permission, nor did we give the authority to Congress to change our name, meaning, and structure. But look, already giving an additional meaning. Okay? But I've got name, meaning, and structure. And this is how this is going to be explained. A. So, they did not change the Constitution. They just gave it an additional meaning. Okay, so they say additional meaning was given to the United States. Think, guys. Here they changed the meaning, name, and the structure. This is going to keep repeating itself because it is from one source. Just look at the Vatican's Pope is the trunk of the tree, because each tree leaf is a corporation playing the same game to make that money. So, number one, the meaning for sovereign public, for which it stands, to a corporation. So the meaning is sovereign public. We are sovereign people. This is what God gave us. God gave us the Constitution. 2 Peter 1:20 specifically states, "You did not hear the interpretation of those men that are in the Bible. What you heard was the Holy Spirit speaking through them." God didn't come to abolish the law. He came to uphold it. What law could that be? Well, yeah, of course, his law, the Bible, but technically, aren't those guys that created the Constitution Bible guys? Aren't they of God? So God had them create the Constitution. So this is why we're sovereign. This is why we came from a sovereign republic for which it stands to a corporation. Now, there's the meaning. Change the meaning. Or add an additional meaning, I should say. Let me get that right. Let's go to the name. You can't give the Constitution an additional meaning. It only has one meaning. They can't give their meaning to what God already wrote. Number two, you got the name. Our name was the United States of America. And they changed it to the United States Corporation. There's two. Beginning sentence, it only says change the additional meaning. Number three, the structure. We the people's law is the Constitution, not the corporation's policy and code. A corporation can't make law, only policy and code. You heard that earlier. Now, let's just step down here for a little bit and let's go into showing additional meaning. They cannot do anything to the sovereign document. It is a sovereign document because 2 Peter 1:20 specifically states you didn't hear those men's interpretation because God, the Spirit, was working through those men. So the Constitution and the Bible are a sovereign document because God was working through those men. So let's just go back a little bit. Let's go to the Bible and give it an additional meaning. Or let's go to the Webster's Dictionary and give it an additional meaning. Let's go to the affidavit, which is filed in the court, and give it additional meaning. Let's tell our dads a different story so we don't get in trouble. Give it just an additional meaning. I'm sure he's going to believe that. Let's all act like Bill Clinton and give sex an additional meaning. Let's go to God in heaven and tell him that Spirit, we want to give his Bible an additional meaning. Because that is what they did exactly. The Constitution and the Holy Bible are sovereign documents created by God's Spirit through man. 2 Peter 1:20. I'm going to give you a second to pause, so take 5 seconds. Just put me on pause 5-second rule. All right, continued. Let's give our United States an additional meaning by giving the Pope what he wants, by ignoring our public officials, allowing them to turn us into a one-world government dictatorship, to worship Satan and take that chip, which will not allow us to go home. You guys, Congress keeps telling us they have the Constitution, and they're talking about the Constitution, but you heard from the beginning, Congress created 1871, and they're still talking about the Constitution. They're all doing this because there's big money and a corporation for them. They're the controllers of this. This is a corporation. Congress created 1871. And the current Congress we have today, go pick a YouTube. How many times have you heard Trey Gowdy talking about God? But yet he says statutes of law. I'll tell you right now, great Trey Gowdy, you're committing aiding and abetting in RICO. You're allowing all this to happen when you know full well the Constitution was done away with. And now the people know it. They just read it. Jason Javets, you know the same thing. 1871. The Legislative Act, February 21, 1871, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419. Congress chartered a federal company entitled the United States, aka U.S. Inc., a commercial agency originally designed as Washington, D.C. Guys, right there, it tells you they took out the Constitution. They can't take out the Constitution. What's done in fraud stays in fraud. This is what our Congress is doing to us, lying to you. Just look at the YouTube videos. That is your evidence. Get these YouTube videos downloaded. You can use the YouTube videos because you're watching them open their mouths saying the same thing. That the Constitution still exists when you're looking at it right here. And don't take my word for nothing. You prove it wrong. Congress is key to this treason, this federal treason of RICO. They're all committing federal treason, RICO, racketeering. But when they sit here and they have the confidence to tell you, no, the Constitution is still there, blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah? Well, you just read it. You're going to have to believe what you want to believe. Look it up. Don't take my word for nothing. Legislative Act of February 21, 1871. 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419. Congress chartered a federal company entitled United States, aka USA Inc. The Declaration of Independence, Articles of Confederation, and the other 3 organic laws appear in Volume 1 of the United States Code. Following this statement, United States Code containing the general and permanent laws of the United States in force. They're talking about the Constitution, permanent laws. Yet we're staring at the Pope's carca. They're lying to you right through this. 1933. It's down in here. I'm not going to jump to it, but 1933 carca the United Nations took over statutes. In the state statutes, there, remember remember this very closely. Each state is a corporation. A corporation can't make laws. Can only make policy and code or rules, which is what you saw. Which is all basically the same stuff. It can't make law, and we elected only Congress to make law. We didn't elect anybody else. So why are they doing what they're doing? Because in a corporation, you're making a ton of money, and the people are slaves to working. This is how they deceitfully changed the direction so that you wouldn't wise up. Well, I got news for you, Congress. You're committing federal treason. You get a Title 42, Title 18 in your personal capacities. You're aiding and abetting in RICO. And all the popes and Congress need to be taken down and put in jail. This is very serious, guys. You need to pay attention to what I'm telling you and take my word for zero. Prove me wrong. But it's going to take all of us to pull. Well, first of all, we've already pulled most of it down. They're working real hard to keep us believing. But I'm trying to show you the proof right here. I'm breaking down 1871. And I'm giving them to you right here on paper. Now, the foregoing statement should dispel any remaining thought that the Declaration of Independence is not law, when in fact the Declaration is one of the 4 organic laws. So, what does this say? It appears in Volume 1 of the United States Code, following this statement: permanent laws of the United States in force. I just kind of said that, so I'm going to just let you read it, and I'm going to pause for 5 seconds. Put me on pause. 5 seconds. I hope you guys are getting this. This over here lets us know that we're still in breaking down 1871. Okay? And you're going to see that pop up a couple times. Now, Congress also knows the Act of 1871. Why? Because they created it. And 1933 R.I.C.O. This is all... This is, guys, this is the largest organized crime in history. And I'll tell you right now, going through 41 judges is not an issue, especially when you're filing paperwork on them stating you're going to hold them accountable. Title 42, Title 18 in their prisoner capacity. You're also aiding and abetting in RICO and federal charges, which they took the Constitution away. They took all the federal stuff away. But technically, this isn't about them taking it away. This is about us. We started the federal. We can restart it again, and there are already people doing that. Look at the Article 5. And let's remember something, guys. They took away the Constitution. What's done in fraud stays in fraud. In other words, they committed the act of treason. RICO is a whole group of bunch of crimes they're committing. Congress committed treason, and you can see your proof just by go listening to them. And take this video. Don't take my word for nothing. You see the 1871. Go find it to be false. I dare you. As you can see, Those are direct, blatant lies. They are lying and misleading we the people in saying they just changed the meaning. But I just showed you 3 dot dot dot. I don't even know what this says. I got a typo there, so guys, sorry. So if that is a lie, just at the beginning of 1871 breakdown, keep reading. You have not seen anything. State statutes. They're using the statutes, U.S. corporation, and it's all over the legal paperwork and unconstitutional tickets. Guys, this is a corporation. We've been under the thumb of a corporation for 100 years. You have public servants, and they're called Congress. But these current Congress, and I'm going to show you the date again. Okay, August 24, 2017. Every time they open their mouth about the Constitution, they're committing federal treason. They're committing perjury. Because now these YouTube videos are evidence in court. Download them. Get them all downloaded. Your evidence in court. These people want to sit here and play this corporate game because they're making money and the rest of us are going to be their slaves. Not on my watch. Reminder, corporate statutes replaced with international law, CARCA. That's the Pope. That's the one world government. And let's read this. December 9th, 1945, International Organizations Immunities Acts relinquish every public office of the United States to the United Nations. Meaning, since they are still talking about the Constitution like it's still in existence, when the United Nations relinquished every public office of the United States to the United Nations in 1933 without we the people's vote, our Congress proves themselves over and over of their federal treasonous aiding and abetting acts of RICO, a blatant disregard of this United States of America, constitutional laws for the people, not commerce. This is all commerce they're talking about, not the Constitution. See, we're one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. So the justice we need to see here is now pulling out our Congress and putting them in jail. We have to replace Congress 100%. I do not know of anyone in Congress. I used to listen to Trey Gowdy and thought we had hope. I used to listen to Jason Gervais, thought we had hope. We don't have any hope, guys. The only thing we have hope in is our own abilities to put them in jail. But you see, we've all been dumbed down, medically treated with bad foods, and this is so that they can turn us over to the one world government, and would be too stupid to see it. But I bet you're seeing it now, aren't you? I'll just tell you this. My dad was a federal agent for the railroad. And he retired. My grandfather was a professor at college teaching airplane engines. I'm far from stupid. Read it. Take my word for nothing. Congress is committing, all Congress is committing lying to themselves to we the people on every YouTube, telling us the constitutional things, misleading we the people to believe that the Constitution still exists when 1871 Congress destroyed it. So I'm going to type that in because Congress, computer don't want to work, I'll just leave it. The Legislative Act again of February 21, 1871. 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419. Congress chartered a federal company entitled the United States, aka U.S. Inc., a commercial agency originally designated as Washington, D.C. And I'll tell you this little piece right here. I have sheriff friends, and those of you that saw me in the think tank, or not saw, but we listened in the think tank, there's a couple sheriffs we had. 2/3 of the sheriffs in this country are corrupt. And sheriffs, you can also go down too. You can also be put in jail for federal treason and aiding and abetting and RICO. And we the people are going to make sure you get there. You want to sit here and you want to collect your federal funds for your jails and put people in jail at $350 a day per bunk? That's right, guys. They're getting $350 a day per bunk. Most areas. Can't tell you about the smaller areas. I'm only talking about the larger areas. And that's federal money. And what's done in fraud stays in fraud. So this is fraud that was committed. Fraud has 0 expiration date. Congress, you are all committing treason. The Constitution is the law. The Constitution of the United States of America. And it is a sovereign document. Break down some more. Congress has no authority to alter the Constitution by ordinary act. It is proposition too plain to be contested that the Constitution controls any legislative act repugnant to it, or that the legislative may not alter the Constitution by ordinary act. Now, there's the case number right there. Now, does that make sense to you? As Congress doesn't have any authority, but you're going to find out right below here. It's where they actually did do it. Congress effectively altered the Constitution by ordinary act. First of all, they say they can't do it by ordinary act, and they say they can do it by ordinary act. First of all, Congress can't make a move without me and you voting it in. They can't do what we're doing. They have to stay within the confines of the Constitution. That is their contract. That's what their contract was. So, one piece of work we can all look up. When did that actually change? I demand every congressman be put in jail. Constitution be reinstated immediately. And every sheriff that's not going to follow their oath of office, you will lose. And you will be in jail yourself for aiding and abetting in RICO, committing federal treason on the backs of the American people in the name of profit. And you all of you have to listen. You all have to realize this is not a joke. They took out this incorporation. They're going to put it back. And remember, there are 2 separate things happening here. There's the republic, and then there's the corporation that was enacted. The corporation that was enacted is what this fraudulent system is all about. But we didn't say it was okay. America to the United States, aka Inc., a commercial agency, or any other name for that matter. So the people that are in the jails, guys, under this is Federal Treasonous Acts of RICO. And everybody has to sign going in there. So the innocent ones, see, they didn't follow due process. Due process is that it is a law that they have to follow due process in the Constitution to make sure that they actually have to go to jail. They're not doing it. And on top of that, they're getting their consent. Everybody going into jail is signing, and they don't know they're going to sign. And that is fraudulent treason of RICO. All over the United States, this is happening. This is why they want to privatize the jails. Can you see this now? People control the corporations. A corporation is a fictitious entity. They control the corporations. It's nothing more than a piece of paper with words on it. They don't follow their oath of offices, which they took. And if you look at the new police that are wearing new blue uniforms, those are United Nations police on your no more local police, but they're wearing a type of blue, and the best I can find out is that it is called an azure blue, A-Z-O-R-E, azure blue. These are United Nations police. They're sneaking this in on us. But you see, they kept us from a lot of stuff, and this information is only known because of the internet. And they wanted to cut the internet down. Are you starting to see some of this stuff, guys? Don't take my word for nothing. Prove me wrong. I'm giving you all the dots to connect. Just like everybody else out here in the YouTubes. I just happen to be the one getting to the root of this evil. They want to privatize the jails because they're making $350 a day per bunk. 80% of the people that are in jails are not supposed to be there. And guys, we're not talking about the true bad guys. We're talking about their bread and butter. This is an organized crime of RICO. They want to control the masses. And this is how they plan on doing it. All of this has to be reversed, guys. We have to demand our Constitution back. We have to start pounding the doors in. Nothing else matters right now because we're going to be in a one world government, a dictatorship, unless you stand up right now. It's quit. You got to stand up. You know, I can only do so much from this one laptop and a microphone. I can do it with my brain. I just can't push every button. And it's going to take all of us to push buttons. I've already gone into the jails and I beat them at their own game. And by the way, you know what they're how you get out the back door into jail? You don't sign anything. You don't contract with the jails. You don't give blood. You don't do anything. That's on this video too. That's on the down a little lower. I'm still going to go back through this and do the 5-second rule at the end. But technically, you can be able to cut it off or still read it and go back through it. But I'm trying to explain most of it because you can just sit back and listen. But I'm just doing it in general. This is what we read before. Remember the additional meaning? Let's give the Bible an additional meaning. The Bible was created through the Holy Spirit, the Spirit working through those men. That's how the Bible was written. So God worked through those people, those men, and wrote those words. God is spirit, guys. God is spirit. Your bodies are a vessel. You want God in your life? You have to realize he's spirit, he's energy. So that energy, let's go to the Bible and give it an additional meaning. Let's go to Webster's Dictionary and give it an additional meaning. Let's go to the affidavit you filed in court that has already been filed and give it an additional meaning. I like this one. Let's all like Bill Clinton and give sex an additional meaning. Let's go to God and tell him that the spirit we want to give his Bible. Let's go to God in heaven and tell that spirit we want to give his Bible an additional meaning, because that is what they did exactly. The Constitution and the Holy Bible are sovereign documents created by God's Spirit through man. So the Constitution is a sovereign document, and they gave it additional meaning. You said up there in red, first thing. They gave it an additional meaning. Congress, do you really think we're that stupid? I know you dumbed us down. But you see, you forgot about some of us aren't that stupid. We've also been dumbed down. But we also started asking questions. We've all been dumbed down to a point. Through the foods, how about we give an additional meaning another meaning? A whole new meaning of additional meaning. What does additional meaning mean? I don't know. Pick one. You figure it out. It's just an additional meaning. We'll give it something else. All of Congress is committing perjury. Of course, we're not in court. This is what this is about, perjury. You can read down the list below. All the YouTubes have the Black Laws Dictionary down there. Perjury's down there. So committing perjury themselves to we the people on every YouTube, telling us that the constitutional things, misleading we the people to believe that the Constitution still exists. When 1871 was destroyed by the Legislative Act of February 21, 1871, 41st Congress, Session 3, Chapter 62, page 419, Congress chartered a federal company titled United States, aka Inc., Commercial Agency, originally designated as Washington, D.C. So they said they just gave it an additional meaning, but yet originally designated as Washington, D.C.? Is that just giving it an additional meaning, or is that changing it, guys? Think. Congress, what's done in fraud stays in fraud. And you're all aiding and abetting in RICO. And the Vatican is a head kingpin to this whole thing. And they need to go down also. All that money needs to be removed from the Vatican, which happens to be, there's 40 zeros tied to their account. 40 zeros. That's 13 groups of 3, hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions. There's 5. I got 8 more to go. And he calls himself the Holy See? He sold his soul to the devil, to Satan, to the coward. Satan is a coward. He was a spoiled little boy. And now it's not working out so well for him. And guys, Christ, Spirit, is the only one God accepts. This is why you have to accept Christ. He's the only Spirit God's going to accept. You got to ask Him into your heart. All Congress committing perjury themselves to we the people on every YouTube, telling us the constitutional things, misleading we the people to believe the Constitution still exists when 1871 destroyed it. Guys, this repeats because I want to make sure it gets in your head and it ties to different conversations. But look, it's not hard to see. It all goes back to the Vatican. The Vatican is a head kingpin. The Vatican is nothing but a piece of paper with words on it. It is a corporation with it's a piece of paper with words on it to create the word Vatican. It's the employees of the Vatican, which is the popes. This is how they stand behind all of this. And when you say you can't sue a corporation, well, that's true. Or when people try and sue a corporation, they're not successful because you can't sue a piece of paper with words on it. And the corporation was created out of the human mind. When a judge hands you a piece of paper and says a state has charges for you, that's as fraud as you can get. The state can't have charges for you. Only in the Constitution somebody can bring a conflict against you. Somebody can bring charges against you because the piece of paper can't. Only another human being can bring charges against you. Corporation can't. So when they say to corporation, no. You stand up. The corporation is not capable of doing anything to you. If I hold the corporation up that we just created at the city or the state, and it's got Joe Blow crimes on it. Now once all that's printed out and made, I get a certified copy in my hand. I'm holding this. It says Joe Blow Crimes. That's the name of the company. Is Joe Blow Crimes a human being? No, it's a piece of paper. So how did the piece of paper come against you? It cannot. And a lot of people try and sue corporations. They can't win. You have to go after the people that sign on the line and the human beings that are creating the problem. Period. And those of you that don't believe in God, I'm just going to ask you one question. You got a laptop. You get sitting in front of the laptop, and you're online. Blah blah blah. You're online, and you're checking your mail, doing whatever you got to do. But I want you to lift that laptop up and walk around with it. But you're still online. Your battery's holding it up. But how are you still online? Because there's no wires plugged in. There's no wires plugged in. How is it still online? It's because it's very simple. In front of your face, all of our faces, all around the world, there's 1,000,000 watts of power in a square foot. Google it, look it up. Don't take my word for nothing. It's 1,000,000 watts of power. So when the radio frequencies leave the radio station and get to your car, it's traveling through the air because there is there's energy in the air. God's energy transfers from His heart to your heart. He is energy. First of all, our bodies are vessels. This is how we will serve one or the other. You either serve in truth and spirit, or you don't serve in truth. That's all there is. Truth and spirit. And all the bad stuff that comes against you and blah, 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 tries to knock you off of that truthful wagon. Ask God to keep you strong. God that's in heaven, by the way. You always refer to God that's in heaven, because if you go to any other God, Satan will step in and say, oh, well, I'm him. No, you're not. You're garbage. Guys, energy travels through air. This is why you have dead zones. No energy will pass through the air. It's not the air it's traveling through. It's just there are electrons in the air. Don't ask me to explain it. I can't. This is how radio frequencies relieve the corporation. I'm sorry, the radio stations. It gets to your radio. So from God's energy coming inside you is what gives you your abilities to do things when sometimes you don't believe that you can do them. And the only spirit God will accept is the one sacrificial lamb that we all have. His name is Jesus Christ. Whether you believe it or not, doesn't make any difference. What does make a difference is where you're going to go home or not. Because you will not go home unless you've accepted Christ. And these people, right now, you're staring at this YouTube video and explaining to you details of the fraud that's going on that made you believe there was no God. That's their whole point. They can get you torn away from the God that's in heaven. They've done their job. Because guess what? The Vatican and all the people that have sold their souls, and just like Pizzagate, they're all out there eating people. They're doing all kinds of very bad things. I'll let you do your own homework. Do you think God's going to have them? Is that of Christ? And is God going to allow him and his company when all this is over? I don't think so. Look, Christ said, if you see a need, do something about it. It's not that hard. They're using this, guys. They are using this to drive you away from your true maker. You don't believe. That's because you're seeing all this. That's all you see. But you see, I don't have a problem believing in God. I know this is Satan doing all this. I get pissed off at God too. I get frustrated. The situation I'm in, I'm frustrated right now. But that's not going to stop my belief in God. Because he's the only energy that we have that's any good. I'm not going to use any other energy, which is all going to hell. As we didn't give Congress the authority to lay to rest the United States of America by the United States Supreme Court's order of December 29, 1848. When the district courts of the United States became United States district courts. United States. They've just changed things slowly. If I stood in front of you holding both my arms straight out, it would look very weird. But if I'm talking to you, and I talk to you for about 10 minutes, but you're thinking I'm crazy, holding my arms up, but if I was slowly turning those arms to where I'm now looking like I'm at a 45-degree angle, or 45-degree angle from when I started, that's a slow turn. You forgot about me. Oh, well, I see you've turned now. Oh, wow, I didn't notice that. Because it was so slow. That's what they're doing all over this country. You have to stand up. You got to start fighting hard. If you want this country, you got to start fighting. You got to start exposing it. You got to start standing up. You got to start calling. Do what you can do. Not like my family. My family wants to sit around and do nothing. They just want to talk about it. And they've all kicked me out of their life. I don't care. You know why? Because it's truth. They want the United Nations to come in? I don't. I don't want that piece of crap. Wait till you see what's down below. See, if you read these things here, it says it's the same at the very beginning, but it's not the same. It says, we the people did not give Congress authority to change anything in the Holy Spirit-driven sovereign document. We did not give Congress to change our sovereign country that God in heaven gave us. We didn't give Congress authority to do that. Supreme Court ruling, no corporate jurisdiction over the natural man. Supreme Court ruling. There it is right here, guys. They did just that by mental sleight of hand. Everything is a mental sleight of hand. It's diversion. They make you think one thing while they're doing another. But here's the proof, guys. You're staring at it. This is how Satan is using his puppets to drive you away from the belief there's actually a God. But I ask you a question. If it wasn't for the people on the internet, Fox News, they did this. If it was 3.5 years ago, 3 years ago, somewhere in there. If it wasn't for the people on the internet, we wouldn't know half of this. Of course, I know Fox is corrupt too. And they're just talking. But they did start to put things out before anybody else. And I know they're corrupt just like the rest of them. All corporations are corrupt. This is why a corporation cannot control you. This is why rules, policies, or codes can't be your law. It isn't law. Guys, it is not law. We didn't give Congress the ability to do anything of this nature. It's nowhere to be found in the Constitution. It's nowhere to be found in the bylaws of what Congress actually started out with. They've done it through fraud. We didn't allow Congress to do the Act of 1933 CARCA. That's actually CIR. We the people did not give the States authority to step outside of their authority of the Constitution and allow Congress the authority to override Article 1, Section 8, Clause 17, exclusive legislation in all cases whatsoever or such districts not exceeding 10 square miles, as they have done. You know, the Bundy thing? Well, there's a lot to it, but basically they're doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, and they're only supposed to have 10 square miles. They're trying to take the lands. I'm getting diverted off of the original thing here. Guys, I hope you're seeing this 1831. It's not a joke. 1871, sorry. Pope is the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. He is the Antichrist. He is the creator to the United Nations One World Government, R.I.C.O, of 1933. Remember, the United States means a federal corporation. There's a statute for it. Look it up. In their own policy and code, it says Title 18, subsection 242. By the way, this meaning right here, if you don't know, that's two S's on top of each other right here. S on top of each other, that subsection. It stands for subsection. Deprivation under rights under color of law. They're saying it in their own books, guys. Color of law. In the Christian nation, only a non-corrupt congressman within the confines of the Constitution sovereign document can touch it through the people. The Bible is also the sovereign document. We've been through all that. We'll talk 5-second rule. Triggetti, you're a congressman. And we had a lot of high hopes in you. But you found out YouTube's talking about the Constitution. You're committing federal treason, aiding and abetting, and RICO. Because you know the Act of 1871. You talked about God. And yet you're talking this. I know there's some stuff going on behind the scenes, so I'm going to give you credit for that. But remember something. We're the one that put you in office so we can take you out. And take you out of office. Let's make sure we're clear about that. So, the legislative intent was merely chopped up and subsequently passed via this process. In other words, they chopped it up in pieces, guys, and they inserted the pieces in different places so it wouldn't be noticed. It wasn't all in one piece where they just filed it and then it was a big juncture. They chopped it up in pieces so nobody would notice it. That's what that's telling you. We're still on breaking down the Act of 1871. That little paragraph you saw before was still on it. The Act providing a permanent form of government for the District of Columbia. For the District of Columbia? The District of Columbia? We're not Columbia. We're the United States of America. And the Constitution is the law. And who the hell started District of Columbia without our consent? An act is not law. It is nothing more than what it says it is. It's an act. Their theater is nothing but power of suggestion, providing a permanent form of government. We the people already have a permanent form of government, and it is called the United States of America, which they are doing a power of suggestion and have committed federal treason crimes of RICO to achieve their own agenda. Through misleading we the people from day one existing thereof, theft by deceptions. The crime of betraying one's country, especially by attempting to kill the sovereign or overthrow the government. This is down there under your explanations of treason. The offense of attempting by overt acts to overthrow the government of the state to which the offenders owes allegiance, or to betraying the state into hands of the foreign power. Can you say England, 1871? Two guys came from England, created two corporations. One's called the Bar. The Bar stands for British Accredited Registry. Second corporation is called the USC, which stands for United States Corporation. And the CFR, the Council on Foreign Relations, controls the United States Corporation. And the head kingpin is the Vatican. The Vatican employees, none of which are the Constitution for the United States of America's Confederacy. This is, you see, United States of America Confederacy. Remember they took out the Confederate flag? Well, that's part of the issue. You need to look up Confederacy, the true Confederacy, or any of those corporations sovereign and cannot impose anything on flesh and blood men or women created by the Father that's in heaven. Guys, this just repeats itself. It is massive because it's in everything. So these are different examples, but it all goes back to the Vatican. The Vatican is a head kingpin. United States of America, they kept pushing their power of suggestion to keep the brainwashing up. Congress, public servants, since you made all of this money in RICO, how are you going to spend it in prison? Oh, but wait. The definition of treason says, go read it. Guys and gals, I hope you see that their corporate world is coming down because of we the people and the internet from 2010-ish to remain and continue as a municipal corporation. Demand Congress to reverse 1871. Okay, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. I hope you see their corporate world is coming down because of the people on the internet from 2010-ish to remain and continue as a municipal corporation. No, that's a typo. Definitely we don't want that. I think that's something I forgot to do. Demand Congress to reverse 1871 and put us back on the Constitution. Immediately. This has to go out everywhere. United States Constitution immediately. Congress, stop your corporate lying and power of suggestion and twisting facts. Federal Treasonous Acts of RICO, 1933 CARCA, and return the United States of America, its Constitution, immediately. Guys, you got to take this seriously. This is not a joke. Alright, this is getting to the last of it. Broke down, last part in Constitution 62. This only government created was any private corporation which determines its own administrative rules and structures. Thus, the only government created was that of any private corporation. Any private corporation? Any private corporation running your country, which determines its own administrative rules and structure. That is the U.S. corporation doing business as the United States. Is not merely the adopted doing business name of an incorporated municipality, District of Columbia. It is also the name of a private corporation, District of Columbia, where people like George Soros is the head CEO. And all of these guys put themselves at the head of the corporation to make all the money, and all the money gets shifted towards the corporations. The chart down there, which we're going to see here shortly, is going to show you all the corporations. And all these corporations you need to quit buying from. You need to shut these corporations down. And the best way to do this is don't buy from them anymore. Create your own stores. Get their R.I.C.O. When this thing goes up, create your own stores. Its own administrative rules and structures. Are you getting this, guys? It's a private corporation. You should by now you should be realizing the Constitution is not what they say it is. This corporation, it's all been a corporation. A corporation is just like McDonald's, the one that's been poisoning us for years, for decades. They're coming down. They're hurting very bad. That's a corporation. They can only make policy and code. And you see those words all over the tickets, all over their legal system, policy and code. And you hear Congress. You hear Jason Javets. You hear Trey Gowdy. You hear all these guys talking about the Constitution. What you don't hear. You see statutes. They're talking about the statutes, but they're not talking about the Constitution. You know, statute like this one down here. You got, let's see. This is Title 3002. A, B, and C. They're giving you a statute right there. That's a statute. Do you see anywhere in the Constitution in there? You see anything in the Constitution in there? I don't. They just say the word Constitution to make you believe that it's still there. Guys, I know this is long, and I know some of you is still here, and we're about to be done with this, but guys, you got to realize how serious this is, and I'm just covering every way that I know so that you can refer to this. This is key. Once you start getting into this, you're going to blow through this like nothing, but you've got to realize this is all fraud. This is why our Constitution don't work when we go to jail or when we go into courts, when we do all that kind of stuff. And you can't. Here, let's say this again. When you go in there to plea, you don't plea. Your answer to the judge is, what does the law say, Judge? The law states I am innocent until proven guilty, so I make no plea. You're all reading this for yourself. I'm just letting you go. Just scrolling through this. They use the verbiage to get through us. This must be reversed immediately. Back on the Constitution. Immediately. Demand it. Make it happen. Fraud has no expiration date. All the main key CEOs must be arrested and start putting people in jail. We demand this. Starting with Congress. This is not the key employee under the key CEOs. Leave the United States of America until we can sort out through all of this federal treasonous acts of RICO. They're corporate participants, all corporations, for creating United States corporations, which the Vatican created in the first place. Only the one that created the corporation can take it apart. Put me on 5 seconds because you want to jot these down. I'm sorry you can't copy and paste. This is a video, but you need to copy them down. Starting now. Put me on pause for 5 seconds. Okay. There is some pieces here that I'm going to have to redo this, but I wanted to get this up. And I've got some more pieces in here that are kind of in here doubles. So, but there's some pieces down here you need to see. This has to be a key thing for you. You have to understand the Act of 1871. This is the Bilderberg. The direct center there you're going to find, right in the middle, you're going to find the Bilderberg. That's what this is. I'm going to zoom in for a little bit so you can actually see. Let's see, this is on page 38. I need you to pay attention here, guys. I know this is just a piece of it, but these are the corporations that are hurting you. Skull and Bone Society right there. See it? This is what they're doing. They create corporations they're standing behind, and look at all these corporations. What? Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. We got some other ones here. What are we looking at here? Oh, come on. What we got? FedEx, Sara Lee, Emerson, McDonald's. Oh boy, Target. How about that? 3M, Xerox, BP. These are all corporations that belong to the Bilderberg Group, the one world government, just so they can play, so they can make all the money and keep you as a slave, you and me, including Boeing. Wow, how about that? We got Fiat, Microsoft. Well, we know about Bill Gates. Walmart, we know about Walmart. Well, that's depressing. Cummins Diesel. Dow Jones, Disney, Fannie Mae, Apple. Oh, Apple's in the game here. Well, that tells me that they start to see why they took him down. Citigroup, Lehman Brothers, Google, Chase, JP Morgan, we know about them. Delta Airlines, how about that? Intel, American Express, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup. Guys, Foreign Allegiance Advisor, White House Deputy National Security Advisor. All these lines represent and go somewhere. Let's just see if we can get a couple of the people that are involved here. Let's see. Dianne Feinstein right there. Hello, Dianne. George Soros. Bilderberg Group, guys. Here we go. Henry Paulson. So how many people are actually still there? Bill Clinton. Let's scroll up. Go down and see that. Timothy Geithner. These names have been slowly disappearing. Ben Bernanke. Now this is back in the think tank days. This came to the think tank back years ago. So how many people are still active in this? I don't know. But you can see where we came from, guys. And all these lines represent, they're going from these people to whatever corporation they belong to. And what do we got right here? What do we got right there? Council on Foreign Relations. Look at all those lines to all those people. I hope you're getting this. I know this is not exactly the most enjoyable YouTube, but it's not supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be educational. Let me see. What page was I on? I don't remember now. Oh, there it was. Corporation. There's nothing. There's no such thing as corporate law. It's policy and code. And this is what they were trying to get you to believe, guys. Congress is telling you it is law. No, it's not. It is policy and code. They're lying to you. Congress is lying to you in just about every YouTube. And there's two. There's commercial. There's of commerce. There's laws for commerce, and there's Constitution. And they're blending them. They're committing federal treason. We need to put these congressmen in jail. Period. And even the ones that were in Congress prior, they can't just want to leave and expect that they're going to get away with things. No, they're not going to get away with it. This is the people. This is our country. This is not theirs. They're our public servants. You want to commit federal treason? You can go to another country and do that. Not here. I went past this. I'm gonna get past this. I want to show you something here. I want you to make sure you watch this video. Sheriff Eddie Craig. He never really gave tickets unless somebody really needed one. He's fighting himself. Put me on pause. 5-second roll. Write those 2 links down and watch Eddie Craig. He's a sheriff. Oh yeah. You haven't seen anything yet. Here we go with it. Let's see what we're looking at there, guys. We're looking at the Pope in the basement of the Vatican with some cardinals on either side, or bishops, whatever you want to call them. Doesn't make any difference. And they got a big demon 25 foot tall behind them. Do you believe the Vatican is still the Holy See? This is what's in the basement, guys. The Vatican is the Antichrist. I'm sorry, the Pope is the Antichrist. The Pope is the man behind the curtain in The Wizard of Oz. He is the creator to the United Nations, one world government. And just to give you a couple, the stickers that's on your tag is a corporation that had somebody create as part of the system, which we all pay every year to put that tag on, or the sticker, to keep it updated so they can make money. But on top of that, it's a contract that states you're allowing you are allowing them, you're buying that sticker that says you can take your car and drive it on your roads you paid taxes for, but you need to get permission. This is what's been happening. Your land patents that your house sits on, they created the real estate industry that does not tell you to bring your land patents forward. You have to bring your land patents forward. If not, you don't own the property. I don't care if you paid it off, you still don't own the property. It's not a joke, guys. Not at all. This is how they're going to take the properties from you. I brought my land patent forward, but I had to go to another state. You can bring it to another state because a lot of the counties, they're not letting you do it because they're committing federal treason. You have to bring your land patent forward in your name. You have to accept the deed of your house in order to keep it. And this is why the guns and the ammo. If you look at you're going to see, you Google United Nations vehicles all over the United States, you're going to find them places that have acres and acres of UN trucks. They're the reasons for the gun and the ammo, because they're going to kill people. Because if you don't give up your car, your assets that you contracted to do, they're going to shoot you for it. They're already worshiping Satan. What do they care? Those of you that are aiding and abetting in this, I would pay close attention. If you notice right here, it says Iraq. Guys, that is 31 brand new jetliners sitting on the ground in Iraq. Do they look like they're hurting over there? 31 aircraft, 300 to 600 million apiece. You're not going to hear anything out of the Vatican until the revaluation of Iraq's money happens. When the revaluation of Iraq's money happens, you're going to put it in their banks, which is everything FDIC, and they're going to take it from you because they're going to seize your accounts. They're stealing your property. They're doing the guns. They're going to kill you. They want to depopulate the place. And Congress is doing nothing about it. They're trying to be quiet. If you notice more sheriff cars popping up in the road, sheriff is the law. We elected them. Constitution. You notice they're starting to stand up. But they can't stand up by themselves. You have to help them stand. It takes all of us. You can see what's going on. They're not telling you about Iraq. This is a 3,000% return. It's going to go back to what it was. It took $3.50 U.S. money to buy one Iraqi dollar. Now it takes 1,170 dinars to buy one U.S. They're very much building that town back up. There's another video out there. There's all kinds of fix up in Iraq. Pay attention to Iraq. Iraq is not a joke. It is going to restart this United States of America. Take my word for nothing. But I guarantee you're staring at the airplane. There's 31 brand new aircraft sitting on the ground in Iraq. So when you Google Iraq dinar scam, you're going to get a whole lot of things. But does that look like a scam to you? They can't keep that bird in the air, plus all 31 of them in the air, on a scam. It's got to come up. It's going to go back to where it was. Take my word for nothing. This is the preface. That is where I'm going to be inserting things right there. And here, five seconds. Well, this is going to have to be fixed right now, so I'm just going to do this right now. Why that's up there, I don't know. It was bugging me. Something's wrong, so I'm going to fix it right now. I'm just getting done with this, and this is just going to be the preface to all the YouTubes, the new preface. The other one is just basic, and I'm just trying to build this thing up. So there's nothing but full of knowledge. This is what you send your clerks when they're not filing your papers into courts. This is what you send them right there. You make sure that's on your affidavit. I'm going to be putting up an affidavit too. 1871 is key to the affidavit. You know it's fraudulent. Here's definitions. You are sui juris. This right here is your reasoning that you can go do your own court stuff. Okay, that explains it right there. Here's the definitions of Black's Law. It's at the bottom of every YouTube video. 5 seconds. Pay attention to treason, guys. Treason and collusion. Human trafficking. Human trafficking is what they're doing in the streets. The police are picking people up and they're getting them to contract when they go into jails, and they don't know they're contracting. Just about 80% of the people that are in jails are not supposed to be there because they contracted, and now they have all this money they got to pay. This is why this is the biggest organized crime in history. And they put Vatican as a head kingpin of this whole thing. All the buck stops at the Vatican. People are not supposed to be in the jails. Why do you think they want to privatize the jails? They're committing human trafficking. All the popes need to be put in jail. Congress needs to be put in jail. We have a totally corrupt system. Why do you think Hillary wanted in office? She's a part of it. Welcome to the Midnight Think Tank. Kidnapping. When they take you up off the street without due process, without somebody bringing claim against you, they're kidnapping you. Period. Everybody's been put in jail. They're kidnapping you. They don't follow due process. We've been on 1933 carcass since 1933. This is why the Constitution don't work. Because we, the people, don't push back. And, you know, the Muslims, this is why they hate America. But I got news for them. You've also allowed your people to push you instead of standing up for the right thing. Father that's in heaven, in the Bible, is a spirit. He's not a man. He's not... He's not anything but a spirit. This is why you have a body, and if your body doesn't have that spirit in it, the good spirit, it's going to have some other foul spirit. It's going to make you think some weird things. The Father that's in heaven is not a joke. The foul spirit wants to come in and take it away from you. This is what they've been doing. Here's the biggie, RICO. All corporate judges, lawyers of this British accredited registry know they are committing this Britain trespass from 1871. All because Britain called in her note to the United States of America and we couldn't pay. By way of Esquire identity. All you lawyers that are paying attention to this, you know you're committing federal treason and off the backs of the American people. So now you get to lose your citizenship because that's what the original 13th Amendment said. If anyone takes title of nobility and receives foreign compensation without the written consent of Congress, uncorrupt Congress, shall lose their citizenship to the United States of America. Get ready. RICO defines as racketeering activity. There's a long list of state and federal crimes. Oh, there we go. We got kidnapping, we got corrupt, we got organized racketeering, all kinds of neat stuff. Exploiting of children. How many people are in jails that you have? How many of your people are in jails? If it's state statutes, this is how they are feeding off the backs of the American people. This is why they want to privatize the jails. $350 a day per bunk, which Congress gets a piece out of each one, I'm sure. Don't take my word for nothing. Prove me wrong. By the way, any of this can be emailed to you. You're not their corporate. legal fiction. By the way, legal equals the corporation. Constitution equals lawful. Lawful and legal are not the same. Lawful's the corporation. Now, why do I have RICO in here twice? I'm not sure. I have to fix it anyway. Not a big issue. Oh, yeah, there we go. 4,000 plus UN vehicles in Jacksonville, Florida. Pause me. Take this information down, guys. This is not a joke. Okay, I'm not going to go through this again. I know this is a long one. I'm probably going to redo it again, but right now I wanted to get this piece of information up and everybody feeding off of it and breaking down 1871. You got to break it down. You got to educate yourself. Get your people together and go through this and think about this, because you're not going to do anything unless you understand. Now, let me just recap here for a second. Give me a second to find it. Where'd it go? Come on. What did I do? Wait a minute. 19. Where's the 19? I gotta go to 19. That's what I'm looking for. Here's some of the jail stuff here, guys. Let me just, before I go, okay? All the jails, you're going to contract with them. You do not contract, okay? All these things in litter. Sign nothing. Sign nothing. Do not contract. Do not consent. Do not pay money into their courts, administrative courts. Do not allow them to serve you. Paper, that is. You know, if they walk up to you, don't take their paper. Hold your hands up, because if they touch you with that paper, that's assault. They're committing assault on you. Do not verbally consent. Do not get intimidated. They have to get you to contract or they don't make any money. Period. This is what the police are doing. And 2/3 of the sheriff, which are corrupt, keep telling them you're not contracting with them. You do not choose to contract. They get a Title 48, Title 18 in their personal capacity, and they're aiding and abetting under RICO from 1871, which took the Constitution and turned it into the corporation. So what I wanted to recap was this at the very beginning. Again, make sure you understand. At the beginning, where are you? Come on. In 1871, additional meaning was given to the United States by a process set in motion by the Act of 1871. Guys, an additional meaning. They can't do that to begin with. It's a sovereign document. They can't give an additional meaning to the sovereign document. Let's go to the Bible and give it an additional meaning. Let's go to the Webster's Dictionary and give it an additional meaning. Let's go to an affidavit which is filed in court and give it an additional meaning. Let's tell our dad's different story so we can get in trouble with additional, so we don't get in trouble for additional meaning. Let's all like Bill Clinton and give sex an additional meaning. Let's go to God in heaven and tell that spirit we want to give his Bible an additional meaning, because that is what exactly they did. The Constitution and the Holy Bible are sovereign documents created by God, Spirit, through those men. 2 Peter 1:20. Guys, this is Wayne, Midnight Think Tank. You have a country that's a free nation. You want to keep it free? Got to do something about it. Hope this helps.